called The Rebbe by Tlushkin.
Say
Say
again,
that
which book?
again.
Tlushkin's book, The Rebbe, which you can't see it on here because it doesn't pick it up. It's funny. But Joseph Tlushkin wrote about the history of the Rebbe from a interesting point of view. I don't know if some people like it, some people don't like it, but
So,
very, very good book.
so today is a special day in Chabad. Today is actually called the Rosh Hashanah for Chasidus, the beginning of Chasidus. It was in the year 1789. And over 200 years ago, and the Reb Shneor Zalman of Liadi, which was the first Chabad Rebbe. So we say that if there are 7 generations, he is the first. Okay, and they were all brilliant people, obviously, Geonim. As we spoke in previous classes, that we characterize people by their intellect, character, and speech. So they were perfection of creation, the perfection of creation. When we talk about this kind of people, I'm going to tell Leonard a story I just heard from Rabbi Shapiro. So because it is a very special day, I went out with my wife and children. We are here in a social hall. There are about 300 people, about 250 men and 50 women. And we are talking about what Chasidus had impact on the world. So Rabbi Shapiro spoke and he said like this: the founder of Chasidus that we are celebrating today, is Rosh Hashanah, is the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov, Leonard, have you heard about the Baal Shem Tov?
I've heard that phrase, yes.
Okay. So the Baal Shem Tov had an innovative approach to Judaism. He came after the messianic era of Shabtai Tzvi, who was a false prophet, and he led many Jews astray. And he came to revive the Jewish people. His name was Israel Baal Shem Tov. Israel is the name of the Jewish people, Bnei Israel. And people didn't, in a way, appreciate his method of teaching Judaism and loving every person and teaching the simcha, the happiness within Torah and mitzvahs, didn't really appreciate it. And there was a student who was advised by his rabbi to go learn by the Baal Shem Tov. And this student was a brilliant man. He says, I learned about the Baal Shem Tov and I have 500 questions about him. 500 questions about his method of guiding Judaism. He went to learn with him. He was there for a few weeks. He was immensely impressed by the Baal Shem Tov, and he stayed to learn to the point that he became the successor, the Maggid of Mezrich. Actually, you are asking whether it has to be father to son. So the Baal Shem Tov had a son, and after the Baal Shem Tov passed away, his son became the Rebbe for 1 year. After 1 year, he said, my father revealed himself to me and told me that the future successor should be the Maggid of Mezrich, not you. His name was Reber. So Reber became the second leader, the second Hasidic Rebbe. But the story goes that when the Maggid, when he went back to his city, after he went to learn, then he went back home. So his teacher asked him, tell me, how was it about Shem Tov? And he spoke so greatly about it. He said, what happened to your 500 questions? How did you answer those questions? So the Maggid answered to him like this. I was so impressed by the Baal Shem Tov that I did not believe he is a human being. I thought he is an angel until he himself, with his own mouth, holy mouth, told me I was given birth by a woman. I have a father and mother. If he would not have told me, I would not have believed that he is a human being. That is what the Baal Shem Tov was. And that it was the Maggid was. And that it was each successor Rebbe until our Rebbe. So the Rebbe, we obviously look at the Rebbe as a human being who was born to a parents and after 120 passed away. But it isn't just the person as a human being, it's what his soul achieved throughout his life. Okay? And what a soul of one person can achieve, you can have 1,000 people, they won't be able to achieve. Okay? I mean, what the Rebbe, I once heard one of his Chasidim said, you probably heard Yossi Jacobson, right? You know Yossi Jacobson. Yossi once told me, if you take all the brains of all the people in the world and combine all their brain together in some way and let them think for 1 million years to come up with a thought or a conclusion or a solution, in 1 million years, all the brains of the people in the world will not be able to accomplish what the Lubavitcher Rebbe can answer you in 1 second.
He had artificial intelligence.
It's not
Like
that.
that.
His brain is.
No, but it's kind of this
It's
magnitude of, yeah.
The life of a tzaddik is not physical. And guys, I'm giving the class now. I'm giving the class. The life of a tzaddik is not a physical life. It's a spiritual life. Okay? So when you have a spiritual life, then life is different. So like when I sit and learn what the Rebbe is teaching us, he's teaching us how to think, how to behave, but how to think differently, how to think godly, how to think religiously, how to think Jewish. Jewish, we don't think like the regular path, like in the world, like everybody else. We think differently. And just to give a simple example, what is the difference between our religion and other religions? Other religions look at the world and realize there must be a creator to this world. Who is this creator? And how do we connect with him? How do we behave with him? And what does he want us to do? So first there is a world, then there is us, then there is the God that we believe in. But Judaism is not like that. Judaism believes first there is a God, and that God has a Torah, and that God has a Torah and the Jewish people, and for God to have fulfilled the Torah and the Jewish people to do the mitzvahs, to give charity, you need to have a world. So God created the world. So the reason the world is not because there is a world and the world was here before. No, the world is secondary or tertiary. First is God. Then there is his Torah. Then there is his mitzvahs. Then there is the rest of the world. So we can learn the Torah and do the mitzvahs. Okay? We can have concepts of intellect that only exist in intellect, does not exist in reality. For example, you cannot come and tell me, I owe you $100. You cannot just come and tell me, you owe me $100, give me the money, I'll take it to court. You cannot do that. Because if you want me to give you money, you have to prove that I owe you the money. Okay? If you don't prove I owe the money, I'm not going to give you the money. That is a philosophical idea, that if you want me to give you something, you have to prove that you're right and I'm wrong. That concept was good 1,000 years ago. It's good now, and it's going to be good in the future. Why? Because it's not limited to people. It's not invented by people. This is a spiritual concept. Okay, there is a concept of God. 1 + 1 is equal to 2. 2 + 2 is equal to 4. Not because you figure it out. It's going to be correct or in the past or in the future and in the present. So there is the connection that we have with Hashem. Now, this concept that we have, the concept, we explain with words. Okay, you can explain. I love my children, right? One day I'm gonna die. What will happen to my love? The love didn't go away, didn't disappear. The love is spiritual. My children will love their children, and their children will love their children. That spirituality of love did not disappear. It's still in this world. Okay. Now, this is concepts that we can explain with words. Those words that we explain are different in different languages. Okay, I speak to you in English. I can say the same concept in Hebrew. I can explain it to you in Hebrew, or I can explain it to you in Chinese, or somebody else can explain in Chinese. I can hear the words in Chinese. I want to understand what you're talking about. I can hear it in different language. I don't speak. I can hear the words. I can hear the words, but I don't understand the concept. So there is words that we say, and then there is the logic, the brain, the logic behind it. Then there is, this is what's called Torah Shebe'al Peh. This is called oral law. Oral law is the ideas, the concepts. Then those concepts always exist in the world from the beginning of creation through now till the end of the world. Those concepts are always going to be here. That's called Torah Shebe'al Peh. Then there is Torah Shebechtav. There is the written law, the written Torah. There are two kinds of written Torah. There is Torah Shebechtav, the Chumash, 5 books of Moses, and then there is Torah Shebechtav of Chasidus, and that is the book of Tanya. This is the book that we are celebrating today, Tanya, Tanya, Tanya. There are many lessons. It's one book with 53 chapters, and we go through it within half a year. Every half a year, we go through the book of Tanya. It has four volumes. The first volume is the most important volume, and that is the Torah Shebechtav of Chasidus. This contains, it's one book, it contains all the philosophy, all the logics of Chasidus all over the world, okay? Given by all the different rabbis, even before Chasidus come, and even now. The book of Tanya is the book that was published and initiated by the first Chabad Rebbe, who we are celebrating today, his ability to publicize the book and release the book. He was captured by the Russians. He was in prison. They did not want him to publish the book. And after 53 days being in jail, he was able to be released and was able to publish his book. And he said that publishing his book is the Torah Shebechtav of Chasidus, like we have Torah Shebechtav of Hashem, and like the Torah Shebechtav connected the high spiritual world with the low physical world, the book of Tanya connects the high spiritual world of Chasidus with this physical world and with our intellect, that we will be able to understand Chasidus, which is the wisdom of Hashem. Okay, this is the sikha, this is the idea that I wanted to share with you today. So it's a very special day. It's a happy day. And we have to be happy. We wish each other Shana Tova. Shana Tova, we should read. Have a good year in learning of Chasidus and behaving like Hasidim. In the online gem.tv, JEM, Jewish Educational Media.tv, there is a lot of videos of this special day, because every year on that day, the Rebbe used to teach us Torah. So I chose one video to show for a few minutes. The Rebbe speaking about this idea, and actually it happened to me. The Rebbe is speaking about Yutas Kislev, which is today. Next week is Hanukkah, and that year it fell around Thanksgiving. So the Rebbe speaks about these three ideas. It says Kislev, Hanukkah, and Thanksgiving. Okay, so let me. I'm not on my iPad or my computer that I can make sure that you can hear, but let me know if you can hear the Rebbe in the Sikha. Okay, 1 second. Okay, let me try.
They have much to be thankful for, especially on the rare occasion that three
Yes, we can hear it.
celebrations
I can hear
fall
it.
out at the same
Okay.
time.
You can hear, guys?
Yes.
In de Scheiches und Linien am Shooter von Jutes Kislev und Chanukah und Nechet, das ist verbunden mit der ganzen Welt. Wie der alte Rebbe schreibt in seine Geres, wer beschreibt, was befreit geworden, Jutes Kislev. Das ist gewähnt eine Sache, was hat gerecht, und sie gewähnt bei Haskomossa, von Ame Horetz und Sore wie Ame Horetz. Und wie sie verstanden kirchen von Sipur Advorim, bis bei dir, von dem Mischel Bekippe, von jener Medine bis Man Havu, der Adrabe, bei Zivu Shalei, und sich demel gewähnt, der Maimi Dumatze war kein Dover Gotten, Allahs bekam a Dover Kaze, und gemusst haben, die nicht Stamma Yishu, nur der Zivui und Triefer von dem Neschel, Bekippe von jener Medine, wo sie dämmel gewähren am Micheles, eine von den Micheles Bekippe, aber die größte Micheles Bekippe von Kol Horetz, weil der sehr echt bei der Gele in der Chanukah, als Afal Pi, wo das ist der Chanitzochen von Niden, begabe Malchus Jovan, steht sich aber gleich dabei, Malchus Jovan Horsho, ist dort der Diu, Komra, das Rätsel wegen Asami Malchus, wo der Fungufi verstandig, aber wenn das Hepe von Horsho, und befragt noch als gekommen, in Meise Bepeil, was am Meise Hua Jiker, und gekommen in die Joni, wo sie seine verbunden bei ihnen, mit Ner Mitzvah Betero Eir. Allahs kam Hepech von der Mini von mir Redes. Der Adrabe, am Davki Margesa noch einmal und noch einmal, der Jeseit von der ganzen Medine ist verbunden mit der Munela Kodesh Baruch Hu. Und nicht Same Munela Kodesh Baruch Hu, nur Munela in Kodesh Baruch Hu, als Abere Elem Manhige, wie Atke Dekach, Aschleike das Hamschunim, wo sie willen einreden, als Maimine Mismen, nur wo denn Rom al Kolgeim al Horetz, Quede, und vernimmt sich mit den Jonen Protim, in der Jesed Medina so, gebuit auf der Ruf, a die, was werden angerufen, dem Yazde Hamedina. Und da weiß Hamedina, haben gleich kommendig in der Medina Machris geworden und gemacht, a Yontev als eine Sina Steder, bei HaKodesh Baruch Hu,
Did we lose Dr. Levin? left us.
I think he's having a little
Technical.
technical. So this gentleman passed away, this rabbi passed away in 1984.
84, 94.
Okay.
Yeah.
And no one has risen to the level.
Yeah. I'm not an expert on it, but they thought, people thought one group that he was the Mashiach, the Messiah, so he shouldn't be replaced. There's a book, it's a very good book that's written called The Rebbe by Joseph Telushkin, and it goes through, he was an outsider, but he wrote about it. He's a good document person, and he goes through the whole history in a very interesting way about succession. But I think within the movement, there's no real leader, but they're an organization that, because I've gone to the things that they've had, it's like a board of people. So it's not one person, but it's like a democracy where they all contribute
Okay.
to their philosophies and their goals. And, they have the JLI where they give courses and they spread all over the world. They have different representatives. So they send people to every country. People, okay, this is your place. You're going to Mongolia, you're going to India, you're going to China. So, whenever I go anywhere, I've been these offbeat places, and the rabbis, and they have their, it's some of the places aren't your big high delegate, France and whatever. They're ambassadors,
Right.
and they find Judaism, but spreading the spirituality. So for me, I go to a minyan on Shabbos at Adam Newman's house, for example. But that's reflecting the Rebbe. Nothing's exactly precise. It's all what you want to make of it. So if you're not, whatever you want to keep, no one's judging you or judging people, which is the beauty of it. What you do and telling you, it's not dogmatic. It's more of a spiritual width, and then you can do what you like, how much you want to do and not do.
Okay.
So,
Well,
they have represented, like Dr. Levin is kind of like a representative too. We're all representatives in that way. Not me, I'm not representing anybody. I'm just,
are you
I
a
went to
physician as well?
I'm a physician. Yeah. I went to Hawaii in 2012, and the rabbi in my shul said, "Oh, bring some Hanukkah menorahs." And I go, "Who's going to do it? Is that with Ram Dass in Hawaii, And all these people, and he says, "I brought one." And he says, "No, bring 15 or 20." And they had different shifts of people lighting menorahs who hadn't lit menorahs. So it's bringing the light into the world, is my understanding. And the stories, it's a way of living, it's a direction. And I think it's a wonderful thing.
Okay.
That one. But,
Yeah.
people take what they leave, some people more,
Right.
and the rest. But it's, the wisdom of teaching yourself. What are your,
I used to be a health law attorney. I used to be
okay,
in Chicago in
right,
charge of a bunch of docs and everything. But
right,
since I'm down in Florida now,
right.
I changed, and Dr. Levin is my personal physician.
Same thing. He's my doctor too.
And yeah, so I
Uh-huh.
grew up in a pretty religious household, but
Where
I
in
left that.
Chicago?
Excuse me?
Where in Chicago?
In the North Shore, Winnetka.
Okay. Okay.
And I grew up in a pretty religious household, but
Right.
when I left and went to school and
Right.
law school and everything, I didn't keep it. And
Right.
it's
So
just
one of the beauties of what I've seen is, like, for example, I was there with Rabbi Jacobs in my house. He goes, and he was looking at Ram Dass. He goes, Ram Dass goes, which is Richard Alpert. He was he goes, well, I could have been a chassid, but there was no one in my house to give me direction of what I really wanted to see.
right.
So sometimes, and it's a generational thing. I think it's very interesting. And people, actually, we are going to Chicago in like a few weeks. I was just there.
Well, stay
'Cause,
out of the South Side.
yeah, I was at Bean,
Right.
and
Okay.
I'm going to a wedding, and my stepdaughter's getting married. So we have engagement party there, and, and I'm going there again in June.
Well,
So,
my daughter's actually applying to some schools up there. So, oh, here he is.
Here, is he back? Oh, he's listening to our conversation. We're all being recorded. I don't know if he's back.
He is. I see his picture.
You do? Oh.
Yeah.
Does he hear us? No. I don't know.
His audio is off.
Oh. Technical. So, yeah, no.